This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, PLDT joins Creamline and Petro Gazz as 12-team ABC Champions League groups locked in. Ronaldo steps away from Brazil football presidency bid. Eminem joins bid to bring WNBA back to Detroit. In the NBA, the Clippers hand the Heat their fifth straight loss behind James Harden's triple-double. While Trae Young scores 35 as the Hawks handle the Hornets. And Philippine mixed martial arts legend Kevin "The Silencer" Belingon bears his thoughts and future plans. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 13th of March. Now here's our roundup. PVL powerhouses Creamline, Petro Gazz, and now PLDT are gearing up to represent the Philippines in the 2025 ABC Champions League, set for April 2027 at the Phil Sports Arena. And yes, it's gonna be an action-packed volleyball showdown. The draw, held on March 12, shuffled these three teams into separate groups, giving Filipino fans multiple chances to cheer on their favorites. 10-time PVL champion Creamline landed in Pool A alongside world number 32 Zetsu BC from Kazakhstan and Al Nasser from Jordan. Meanwhile, Petro Gazz headlines Pool B with Taiwan's Tai Power and Hong Kong's Hip Hing. PLDT added to the lineup just an hour before the draw finds itself in Pool D with Thailand's Nakhon Ratchasima, King Min Si, and Australia's Queensland Pirates. As for Pool C, it's a battle of Asian giants with world number 5 China, Vietnam, and an Iranian team yet to be announced. With these tournaments lining up, Filipino volleyball is in for a thrilling 2025, and this is just the beginning. Brazilian football legend Ronaldo has officially pulled out of the race for the country's football governing body, citing a lack of support from regional federations. His decision comes after months of pushing for change, aiming to address what he called a deep crisis in Brazilian football. But despite his efforts, 23 of the 27 regional federations showed little interest in his proposals. Instead, the regional federations have thrown their support behind incumbent President Ednaldo Rodriguez for re-election in 2026. Rodriguez has faced criticism for his handling of the national team, turning to interim coaches after Tite's departure following Brazil's 2022 World Cup quarterfinal exit, all while waiting for Carlo Ancelotti, who never came. With Ancelotti staying at Real Madrid, Dorival Jr. eventually took over as head coach last year. Now, with Ronaldo out of the picture, it looks like Rodriguez is poised to keep his seat at the helm of Brazilian football. Detroit's own rap icon Eminem is throwing his hat into the WNBA arena, joining a power-packed ownership group aiming to bring a women's pro basketball team back to the Motor City. According to Sportico, the multi-platinum artist is teaming up with Detroit sports giants, including Pistons owner Tom Gores, and backing from the owners of the Red Wings, Tigers, and Lions in a strong bid for a WNBA expansion team. Former Pistons stars Grant Hill and Chris Webber, Lions quarterback Jared Goff, and General Motors CEO Mary Barra are also part of the effort. The WNBA plans to add up to these three teams in its next expansion round, with Detroit competing against cities like Charlotte, Cleveland, Denver, Houston, and Philadelphia. Toronto and Portland are already slated to join the league in 2026. Detroit has a rich WNBA history. The Detroit Shock, established in 1998, won 3 titles under Pistons legend Bill Laimbeer before relocating to Tulsa in 2010 and eventually becoming the Dallas Wings. While financial details of the bid remain under wraps, reports estimate the average value of a WNBA franchise is at $96 million. A longtime supporter of Detroit sports, Eminem has been a fixture at Lions games and even made an appearance at the 2024 NFL Draft in the city. Now he's looking to help bring women's professional basketball back to his hometown. In the NBA, James Harden delivered a near triple-double with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists as the Los Angeles Clippers cruised past the struggling Miami Heat 119-104. Bogdan Bogdanovic led the Clippers with 30 points and 10 rebounds, while Ivica Zubac added 26 points and 14 boards. Amir Coffey also chipped in 13 points as Los Angeles snapped a 4-game road losing streak. Miami, now on its worst skid of the season with 5 consecutive losses, saw Tyler Hero explode for 31 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds. Andrew Wiggins contributed 22 points, but Bam Adebayo was limited to just 6 points, far below his season average, though he managed 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 steals. Despite missing Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell, the Clippers controlled the game early, jumping to a 30-20 first-quarter lead as Harden poured in 11 points. The Clippers shot an impressive 59.2% from the field, including 48.1% from three-point range, while dominating the paint with a 56-46 scoring edge. The Heat, shooting 47.6% overall and 37.8% from deep, failed to mount a serious comeback in the fourth quarter. The Clippers, still without head coach Tyronn Lue, were once again led by assistant Brian Shaw. Meanwhile, Miami will look to break out of its slump in the next matchup. Meanwhile, Trae Young returned to the lineup to deliver his 39th double-double of the season, leading the Atlanta Hawks to their 4th straight win with a 123-110 victory. Young, who missed Monday's game with a bruised left quadriceps, exploded for 35 points, going a perfect 21 for 21 from the free throw line. He also tallied 12 assists and 7 rebounds, marking his 19th game with 30-plus points. Young became just the 8th player in NBA history to make 21 or more free throws without a miss. The Hawks improved to 3-0 against the Hornets this season, solidifying their hold on the number 7 spot in the Eastern Conference. Atlanta also got 15 points from Caris LeVert and 12 from George Niang. Charlotte's Miles Bridges recorded 31 points and 11 rebounds. LaMelo Ball added 25 points and 9 assists, while Daquan Jeffrey scored a career-high 20 points. The Hornets had their 2-game winning streak snapped, dropping to 6-25 on the road. Atlanta opened the second half with an 11-0 run capped by a Dyson Daniels layup for a 63-49 lead. Charlotte fought back, cutting the deficit to 4 with 9 minutes and 58 remaining on a floater by Nick Smith Jr. But Young responded with a 3-point play to push the lead back to 10 with 8 minutes and 19 left. The Hawks sealed the game with back-to-back threes from LeVert and Niang, extending the margin to 108-95 with 4 minutes and 53 seconds to go. And here are more results from around the NBA. And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Did you know there is a term in diving for a tricky water condition that makes it harder for divers to judge their entry? What is it called? The answer? Dead spot. In sports diving, a dead spot refers to an area in the pool where the water remains unusually still, creating minimal ripples or disturbances. This can be a challenge for divers because they rely on the water's surface movement to gauge their entry point during flips and rotations. Without visible ripples, it becomes harder to determine depth perception, which can affect the precision of a dive. Elite divers often train to adjust their technique and visual cues to counteract dead spots, ensuring their entries remain sharp and controlled despite the tricky conditions. Judges also take this into account when scoring, as an unnoticed dead spot can impact a diver's final performance. Next time you watch a diving competition, see if you can spot the dead spot. Now it's time for our off-court buzzer. Capital One is expanding its presence in Philippine sports with the launch of the Capital One Solar Strikers, the latest addition to the Philippine Football Federation Women's League. Following the success of their volleyball team, the Capital One Solar Strikers sisters Milka and Mandy Romero are now turning their attention to football, hoping to make a strong impact in women's sports.
We've seen the growth of women's sports here in the Philippines, and we're only here as vessels. We want to push this legacy that we have experienced ourselves, my sister and I as players.
The Solar Strikers are aiming for a competitive start under the guidance of head coach Let Dimzon, a seasoned mentor who will lead a lineup comprised of experienced players, overseas talents, and top collegiate recruits from powerhouse programs like LaSalle and Far Eastern University. Capital One continues to grow its sports program, and with the Solar Strikers entering the PFF Women's League, the team looks poised to make an impact in Philippine football. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 13th of March. Up next, Philippine mixed martial arts legend Kevin Belingon bears his thoughts and future plans after his latest one championship match in Qatar. So watch out for that when we return right here on The Scorecard.
Para sa pag-uswag kan mga Bicolano, kaipuhan ibalik ang Bicol Express. Kaipuhan na sing tibay, sing rikas ng bullet train gikat sa Japan. Bullet train para sa Bicol, ang programa kan Bicol Saro na mataong kaugmahan sa pamilyang Bicolano. Kafuerting proyekto kan Bicol Saro para sa pinakamarikas na Bicol Express. Bicol to Quezon in just 1 hour.
Bicol to Manila in just 3 hours. Bicol Saro, ang party list na magtataon ng progreso para sa mga Bicolano.
Magandang gabi, ako po si Pinky Webb.
At ako naman si Corina Sanchez Rojas.
Kombinasyong Corina Sanchez Rojas at Pinky Webb. Dalawang mamamahayag na subok sa tapang at talino.
Simulcast tayo sa DWAR, Abante Radyo at 94.7 Mellow BFM.
Mapapanood din tayo sa Abante Teletabloid sa SkyCable. Sa bawat issue may anggulo at ang balita may agenda.
Welcome back to The Scorecard. He may have suffered a controversial defeat in his latest and probably last match against erstwhile rival Bilyonaryo Fernandez, but for this pride of Ifugao who has brought honor to the country on numerous occasions, it definitely ain't the end of the road yet. Here's Kevin, the silencer Belingon, sharing his thoughts and plans for the future. It's nice to see you again after so many years. Naalala ko yung spinning heel kick mo sa Bottle Cup. Uso pa noon yung Bottle Cup Challenge. Okay, Kevin, I know it's been an emotional past 24 hours for you. Tough fight against your rival, Bilyonaryo Fernandez. What was it like going up against Bilyonaryo for the 5th time? Grabe, sobrang bihira na dalawang tao naglaban ng 5 beses.
Siyempre, mahirap kasi yung unang-una yung preparation. Yung preparation mo, lahat, kailangan nakahanda lahat. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and of course, spiritually. So, yun, pang-5 na laban namin yun. So, yun nga, medyo ano yung history namin. Maganda yung takbo ng ano, ng history namin. So, ayun, dismayado sa naging resulta. Akala ko ako ang panalo dun, pero sayang nasa judges yung ano eh. Pero at least I'm still blessed kasi wala naman tayong serious injuries.
Kevin, ano masasabi mo sa mga kababayan natin dun sa Doha? Joshua Pasio said, it's his home away from home. Kahit si Bilyonaryo nagpasalamat sa Pilipinas. Ano masasabi mo sa ating mga kababayan na nag-cheer, nanood sa inyo dun sa Doha?
Ayun, sa mga kababayan ko, sa kababayan natin sa Doha, maraming salamat sa support. And yun, yung feeling parang nasa MOA Arena ka eh. Kasi yung mga nanood halos 80 to 90% na puro Pinoy. So So, doon natin makikita kung ano yung suporta ng mga Pilipino kahit saan andun talaga yung support nila. So, maraming salamat sa mga sumuporta sa amin kay Joshua.
Kevin, si Bilyonaryo nag-decide na mag-retire. 44 years old na si Bilyonaryo. According to his Wikipedia page, sinabi na sa interview 45 na siya. I'm not sure. Ano naman ang masasabi mo na for his farewell fight, ikaw ang pinili niya for his last fight? And syempre, last fight, hindi siya sigurado kung mananalo siya o matatalo. Ano naman reaction mo doon na ikaw ang pinili niya?
Is unang-una nung in-offer siya sa akin, nagulat ako eh. Kasi hindi ko talaga in-expect na siya yung ibibigay. Kasi almost ay lampas 2 years na ako nabakante eh. Yeah. Tapos nag-message si boss na in-offer si Bilyonaryo. So nagulat ako. And siyempre, na-excite din. Kasi sabi ko, ito yung chance ako na makabawi sa kanya to even the score. Kasi yung parang score namin is nanalo siya, nanalo ako, tapos na-DQ ako. Pero sa tingin ko, di ko kino-consider yun na loss or win sa kanya. So ito sana yung yung panglimang laban na to yung parang mag-even sa score namin. Pero yun nga, akala ko ako mananalo doon, pero siguro binigay sa kanya kasi retirement fight niya. So, it is what it is.
Inis ka ba na nag-retire na hindi ka na makakabawi kay Bilyonaryo?
Siyempre naman, wala yun ang pinakawaling chance ko eh, pero ginawa ko lahat, pero talagang kinapusta.
Okay. Bilyonaryo, we were just talking na 40 plus na, 44, 45. Ikaw, you're 37 years old. Marami ka nang dinaan ng gera at pagsubok sa buhay mo. I'm just wondering out of curiosity lang, Kevin, naisip mo na ba yung retirement mo?
Siyempre naman, darating tayo doon. Pero, yeah, pag-isipan ko pa. Pag-isipan ko pa.
Ngayon, lalaban ka pa, feeling mo marami ka pang may bibigay sa mixed martial arts?
Sa tingin ko, marami pang may bubuga, pero yan, di mo ako mag-decide. Kausapin ko man ang pamilya ko, yung asawa ko. And, tignan natin kung ano ang susunod na hakbang.
Okay. Kevin, ngayon na nag-retire si Bilyonaryo, anong plano mo next? Bantamweight division? Sino ba yung mga gusto mo makalaban dito?
Siyempre naman, gusto kong makalaban ulit yung mga tumalo sa akin. Kasi gusto kong makabawi, pero nasa one championship na yun eh, kung sino ang ibibigay.
Okay.
And kung babalik man ako or kung lalaban ulit, ayun, tignan natin. Depende sa one championship.
Yung sinabi mong boss na tumawag, si Chatri ba yun?
Si Sir Chatri. Siya mismo yung nag-message sa akin na in-offer si Bilyonaryo. Actually, last year sana yung laban pero di natuloy.
Okay.
Sa Japan sana yun, pero di natuloy yung event doon, so na-reschedule.
Okay. Para sa'yo, Kevin, sa lahat ng mga nangyari sa career mo bilang one championship athlete, ano yung, para sa'yo, yung crowning moment or yung best moment mo sa one championship as an athlete there?
As an athlete, ang best moment ko is yung pagpasok ko sa one championship mismo kasi mahirap pumasok sa malaking promotion eh. Kasi di ko in-expect talaga na darating makapupunta ako sa malaking promotion kasi noon nga dito lang sa Pinas yung yung lumalaban lang tayo dito sa Pinas, and yan naman napansin tayo. And then, napasok tayo sa one. So, yun ang pinakamalaki na parang achievement.
Okay. May iba naman tayo, Kevin. Siyempre, you're known as the silencer, one of the deadliest strikers that the Philippines has ever produced in mixed martial arts. Ano pa ba yung mga ibang pinagkakaabalahan mo sa buhay? Ano yung mga hobbies mo when you're not training and competing?
Wala, sa akin lang, training, sa family, yan lang, mostly, yan lang. Tapos may mga alaga ako doon na, yung mga iba't ibang alaga, manok, mga pato, yan lang ang pinagbibisihan ko pag walang schedule na fights. So, ayun, para ma-busy lang, yun ang ibang ginagawa ko.
Tingin mo, Kevin, kung hindi ka MMA athlete, ano sa tingin mo yung magiging buhay mo? Ano kaya ang trabaho ng isang Kevin Belingon if you were not the silencer?
Siguro kasi criminology yung tinapos ko eh. Probably nasa government ako, pero yun nga, nagustuhan na parang nung una, parang gusto ko pang fitness lang yung yung sports ko na mixed martial arts, pero nung sinubukan kong mag-compete, yun, doon na nagtuloy-tuloy. Di ko naman inasahan na makarating ako dito sa sa position na to. Kung lumaban na sa local and then international, ayun, yun lang.
Okay. For my last question, Kevin, actually it's not a question, it's a message. Ano yung message mo sa lahat ng mga sumuporta sa'yo, sumusubaybay sa'yo, and when can they see you again in the competing for one championship?
Ayan, unang-una, pinapasalamatan ko si God sa mga blessings na nabigay niya sa akin. And sa mga taong sumuporta sa akin nung nagsisimula ako sa mixed martial arts. And hanggang ngayon, yung mga sumusuporta. And ayun, thank you very much sa inyong lahat. And yeah, hopefully makikita niyo ulit ako sa loob ng circle or ring.
There you have it, Kevin, the silencer Belingon. Maraming salamat, Kevin, sa oras, and it's great to see you again. And like you said, hopefully see you again soon inside the circle.
Thank you.
When the scorecard returns, we will bear 3 more players who have totally changed their career trajectory this season and who have likewise effectively changed their team's direction as well. So you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. All right, we said we would continue this discussion. Last night, we talked about Cade Cunningham and Evan Mobley taking that next big step. But we've got more for you, 3 more to be exact, because this has been one of the wildest breakout seasons in recent memory. It's like the league threw a bunch of names in a blender and said, yeah, sure, let's turn these guys into superstars. So, as I said, 3 more players who have totally changed the trajectory of their careers this season. Let's start with a guy from the Los Angeles Clippers, Norman Powell. You know how sometimes you watch a guy for years and just assume, yeah, that's who he is. That was Norman Powell. For me, solid role player, maybe an elite 6-man at best. But this year, get this, 23.8 points per game, efficiently. That's no small leap. That's wait, did Norm Powell just become an all-star kind of leap? And if you've watched the Clippers lately, you know that they're a different team without him. Since the All-Star break, they're 4-5 in games he's missed. And suddenly, they might have to scrap their way out of the play-in. Crazy, because when Powell plays, the offense actually looks balanced. Kawhi does Kawhi things, Harden orchestrates, and Powell adds that extra oomph. Clutch threes, aggressive drives, making life easier for everyone. I did not have Norm Powell as the 3rd scorer for the Clippers or 3rd most important player on my 2024 bingo card, but admittedly, here we are. All right, let's go to the next player. Ty Jerome. From NBA afterthought to bench weapon. I bet nobody expected his name to pop out on this list. Yes, Ty Jerome. The former Virginia guard was a fringe NBA player last summer, nearly out of the league. But now, he's one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA, playing a key role for a Cavs team on pace for 60-plus wins. I triple-checked this. Jerome is hitting 43.8% from 3. But the real story is his mid-range and floater game. Every time he gets into that 10 to 15-foot zone, it feels automatic. He's got the old man game, slow, methodical, but almost impossible to stop. And here's where it gets wild. When Jerome is on the floor, without Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, the Cavs are outscoring teams by 18.4 points per 100 possessions. Absurd. Cleveland somehow has an elite offense even when their two best guards are sitting. So what does that mean? Maybe Jerome is a sixth man of the year candidate. Maybe he's just a secret weapon for a team that's already a title contender. Either way, the Cavs just got even scarier in a 7-game series. So that gets us to our last player here on the list, Franz Wagner, Orlando's unlikely alpha. Let's talk about him, because it feels like everyone forgot just how absurd he was to start the season. Paolo Banchero went down early, and Wagner responded by playing like a top 15 guy for a month. From November 11 to December 6, he dropped eight 30-point games in 14 outings. And that's not just a hot streak. That's a full-on superstar run. Since then, though, he's cooled off a bit with Banchero back in the mix, but the overall numbers still ridiculous. 25 points, 5.6 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1.3 steals, all career highs. Now here's the real question. Are Wagner and Banchero a perfect fit? Both need the ball, both are big, playmaking wings who don't shoot a ton of threes, and Orlando lacks elite floor spacers. That means the Magic's front office has a big decision to make. Is this a championship duo, or is there some redundancy here? Either way, Wagner's leap made one thing clear. He's not just a secondary piece. He could be a legit franchise cornerstone. Now, whether that's in Orlando or somewhere else, that's the next big question. I love a good breakout season, and this year has been loaded. Powell goes from role player to borderline star, Jerome from NBA afterthought to ultimate bench weapon, and Wagner proving that he might have been the real #1 pick in 2021. And what's even better, they all came out of nowhere in different ways. A late bloomer, Jerome, a revival story, and Wagner leveling up way faster than expected. And that's the NBA. Just when you think you've got it figured out, you've got Powell dropping 25 a night, Ty Jerome outscoring entire bench units, and Wagner. What an emergence. Man, I love this league. So let's keep an eye and stay ahead of the game with a full lineup of NBA matchups tomorrow. And that wraps up tonight's preview, so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Before we go, think on this. From a former tennis world #1 who won 155 career titles, including 7 Grand Slams in singles and 9 in doubles, John McEnroe, he once said, "I'll let the racket do the talking." And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Good night.